We'll begin the installation process by installing the diverter to the end of your tap. The first thing is to remove the aerator from the end of the faucet. The aerator should be finger tight. If it's not, you can use a pair of pliers to loosen it up and then remove it the rest of the way. The diverter sometimes will screw right into the end of the faucet, but in this case you can see that we'll need an adapter. So we'll take one of the adapters until we find the right one. And then we'll just simply screw it in. Again, making sure it's hand tight. It's a good idea to use a napkin or a small towel to tighten the adapter because those threads are actually quite sharp and can cut your fingers. Then we'll simply screw the diverter into the adapter. And again, hand tight is usually good enough. If you find you have leaks, you can, at any good hardware store, pick up for about $1 a roll of Teflon plumber's tape and use a couple of wraps of the Teflon plumber's tape around the threads, and that will stop just about any leak. Next, we'll install the white tap water inlet port or hose to the diverter. We'll begin by removing the compression nut at the end of the diverter and threading it on to the end of the tap water inlet hose with the threads facing out so it can be reattached. Then we'll push the white tap water inlet hose onto the diverter valve and reattach the compression nut by screwing the threads down. It may be pretty tight, so you may have to use a pair of pliers. Be careful not to over tighten it. If you have trouble attaching the white tap water inlet or the gray acid water inlet to any of the ports, simply soak the end for a minute in a cup of warm water, and that'll make it easy to attach. Next, you'll want to make sure that the ionizer is positioned properly by your kitchen sink. You'll want it close to the sink, but in a convenient place as well. And you can trim the hoses just using a pair of simple kitchen scissors to make sure the hoses are the appropriate length. It's that simple. Next, we'll install the tap water inlet port to the bottom of the ionizer. We'll begin by tipping the ionizer onto its back, and you can notice I've laid down a towel to protect the back of the ionizer. There are two fittings on the back. The gray swivel one is a quick release fitting, and we'll begin by simply pushing the end of the white hose into the port, bracing it with your fingers. You'll know it's properly installed by giving it a tug, and if you can't pull the hose out, then it's properly installed. Next, we'll install the gray water acid outlet. We'll begin by taking one of the brass compression clamps and sliding it over the end of the acid water tube, and then again bracing the port with your free hand, slide the acid water outlet over the port, and finish by fixing the compression clamp over the end of the port to prevent leaks. Last, we'll take the flexible alkaline drinking water spout and attach it by removing the black cap and then simply threading it in to the threaded alkaline water port. And hand tight, make sure you don't over tighten this. Hand tight is good enough. And now we're ready to learn how to use the machine. Next, we'll power the ionizer up. We'll begin by plugging the power cord into an appropriate outlet and then simply turning the on-off switch into the on position. You'll hear a small chime sound, and then you'll know the ionizer is powered up.